Today, I'm sharing the 4 automations that run my 6-figure public speaking coaching business all while I sleep. So I really only have to worry about reviewing content ideas, recording content, and coaching my students live. These automations have cut my time down from 10 hours a week to now just 2 hours a week running my business. And I'm balancing a full-time day job too. In fact, I even let go of my virtual assistants last year because I now have AI doing their work much more reliably at half the cost. So by the end of this video, I really want your juices to get flowing on the automations to prioritize for your own business that will save you time and make you money, all without burning out. The first automation is part of my content operating system, and it converts your coaching calls into short form content automatically. This system has helped me grow to over 300,000 followers on Instagram and on TikTok. So I want to show you exactly how you can apply this for yourself. The starting point is a content database. As you can see in the Shorts tab in my YouTube tab, I've documented every single piece of content that I've ever created. And what you'll notice is in each row, each piece of content has its own unique content ID. It's got a unique title. It tells you the brand that it represents, the different stages in the pipeline. And most importantly, it gives you the document for each script and a Google Drive folder that houses all of the assets. This is really important because now AI has a database to work from much more easily when it comes to repurposing your content and proactively notifying you. So for example, when I finished a coaching call, this was even just 2 days ago, I finished this call with a client. I then was able to trigger an automation in my database, extracted key ideas from those coaching calls. You can see here in this tab for my course videos, you'll see all these different topic ideas that were extracted from my various coaching calls. So if you look at the various source references, these, for example, are the original sources, so the transcripts of my calls with my students. And then we'll automatically extract out idea packets. These are discrete ideas from snippets in a call, where we highlight what's the key problem that we're solving in the call. For example, a member needed to lead a small high-trust room without sounding like they were launching straight into a pitch. And then I have the teaching moment summarized for me. I have the key moments in the call that are worth highlighting. So now I can review these idea packets and decide for myself, do I want to convert this into a short form ad copy? Or do I want to convert this into a talking head reel for more my organic content? Or do I want to turn this into a mini course video for my current students? So once I've done this, the question then becomes, how do I actually trigger a lot of these workflows to actually happen, especially while I'm on the go? Well, I've built a content bot. It is my agent that lives with me on the go. I access it in an app called Telegram. If you haven't heard of it, Telegram is a very popular messaging platform, and I can access this on my desktop. I can access this on my phone. And the way it works is I will just interact with it like I would with Claude or ChatGPT, except the main difference is that it can proactively notify me things, and it's reading off my entire database. Can you open the content database sheet for me? It knows which database I'm referencing. That's the same database I shared with you. And it points me to the course videos tab. I then want you to take a few scripts, turn them into video course material. So it will pick a few of my idea packets right here. And for example, it will turn them into first pass scripts all right here. So I can read this and I can determine, do I like this? Do I want to tweak a few things? And then when I'm ready to go, I can record. Now, AI is not going to make everything perfect for you 100% of the time. It's probably going to get you 80 to 85% of the way there, but it's much better to start from a strong baseline than to start from scratch. So that's the first automation, turning your coaching calls into short form content automatically. And if you want to see how you can build this for yourself, just check out the link in the description. It's a pretty intense build. So if you want me to actually show you how to walk through building this in a separate video, I'm happy to do so. Just let me know in the comments. Or you can also book a time with me and we can build it for you. So that is the first one. It is building your content operating system's first automation. The second automation is my favorite way to get leads from Instagram and TikTok, and it involves using ManyChat. In case you haven't heard of it, ManyChat is a platform that allows you to automatically send your prospects free resources and links all on Instagram and Facebook in particular. For example, if you looked at this particular video I posted, you'll see that I talk about a certain topic and then I say, do you want this no BS communication guide? Comment this number and I'll send it over. And then you'll see a bunch of people comment in this number. I automatically DM them and then I sent them a free resource for them to get. And this is really helpful because when you get people going to your website, accessing your free content, a lot of people will join your newsletter like they've done with mine. I've gotten to almost 12,000 subscribers just through this method alone. Now, what I'll call out is in order to make this work, the infrastructure behind it is key. So what I mean is anytime you decide I want to create a piece of content, it's free, it's a video, it's about a certain, idea, you typically want to create this like unanswered question in your viewers' minds. Like, okay, so now that I understand how to lead executive meetings clearly, what's a common pain point they would likely face after seeing that content? Maybe it's how do you run presentations from scratch? So I actually ask them in my content, if you want to learn more about this topic, comment this number and I'll send you a lead magnet. Because as you can see, every single piece of content, all my newsletters, they each have a unique identifier, a number. This helps the agent understand which resource should I actually assign to that piece of content. And what's really cool is that I can actually create these ManyChat automations from my agent in Claude Code. Now, if you've never used Codex, these coding agents that are super popular now, I actually strongly recommend that you just pay $100 a month or $200 a month. These are awesome. But I'm going to walk you through how I use this to ultimately generate a ManyChat automation automatically. Like I didn't even go into their UI and click around. I just typed a prompt in here and it did it for me. And also, I'm going to show you how I got my agent to find the right resource that would go well with a piece of content. So as you can see here, if you look closely at my prompt, it says, I want you to use the ManyChat skill to take C1611 from my content engine, the local OS. It's about the minimum viable backstory. I want you to go through my newsletter issues from prestonchin.co/resources and find one really good resource that could be a great lead magnet. Give me the number and then create the ManyChat automation using the skill automatically for me so that I can get a draft of the ManyChat automation when you're done. And so it's going to do a bunch of work, right? And what I'm calling out is the importance again of your content database, because now it knows this is the piece of content, C1611, the minimum valuable backstory. If you don't know what the content's about, it will go into the script and it will read the script right here. So now that it has that, it also has access to my newsletter so it can see these are all the pieces of content that he's created. And so I'm going to go ahead and create that automation. So it did a whole bunch of work where it's manipulating my local files, which are files on my hard drive. So it's actually able to manage context much faster than Claude.ai or ChatGPT. That's why I strongly recommend using it. And then what happened is it started getting everything it needed, the captions live with a specific keyword. Let me verify against ManyChat before creating anything. And so what I want to do is actually tell it, continue making the automation for me now. All right. So what's happening is while it is running, it actually controlled my Chrome tab. So it uses the Claude Chrome browser extension. And it creates this automation by controlling the tab, changing the fields. You can see that's why it says Claude here, because it's now starting to debug or control this browser. So you'll notice I'm not clicking anything. It's literally going in, clicking on a particular type of automation. And then it is, as you can see, creating the template. It is going to move the mouse at some point, right here, to where you need to enter a specific keyword. It will enter 92 like you saw, and then it will even modify the potentially slightly so that it makes sure that it gives the right resource, right? Awesome. And then I think it will even change the link down here. It'll change the reply messages. It'll even make sure that the correct link for that free resource is provided. And then it will save the automation, and then I can go in and just launch it. So this is done for me. It's all through an agent, but the key behind this process is that you must have a place for your agent to be able to read all of the different pieces of content that you've published. So that's the second automation. And if you're curious about getting that started for yourself, I've included a link for how you can create this ManyChat automation from scratch so that your computer can control it for you. These next two automations are pretty similar. They help you manage your day-to-day operations of your coaching business much more easily. So the first is, how do you send coaching call recaps to your students automatically? To give you an example of what I mean, let's say that you have a coaching call and the morning of, you want to send a quick reminder email. So instead of manually writing it out, you can have an automation where we're pulling the specific meeting link for that call, for example, right here, and then a quick description of what you need to prepare sent automatically to the people that are on that invite. And then similarly, you might have a recap email where you have the recording of that particular call, as well as the transcript and summary inside, and you send it to the same attendees in that meeting invite link. But the only way that you can do this, or my favorite way, is to actually have installed called the Google Workspace CLI. CLI is a command line tool. So it allows your agent to interact directly with Google Drive, Gmail, Calendar, Sheets, Docs, Chat, Admin, and many more. The way that you install this, and I'm not going to walk you through this entirely in this video. If you want a breakdown, just let me know in the comments and I'm happy to go through it, is you want to go through Claude Code or Codex again, because these agentic coding tools are what you use to interact directly with Google Workspace's CLI. So I might, inside of my interactive development environment, this is called Warp. You can find it at warp.dev. You could go in and type like Claude, and then I already have it installed, but you could literally do this. It's as simple as going into this workspace CLI, copying it, pasting it, dropping it in your agent here, right? Once you've gotten Claude Code set up, just drop it in and you'd say, I want to install the Google Workspace CLI and then create a bunch of automations with CLI for my coaching business. And then it will install it for you. And then you can literally give it instructions like I did about what you specifically want to happen every single time you have a coaching call come up, right? So you're going to need to grant agent access to your calendar, right? Your Gmail. And people sometimes get concerned like, oh gosh, will the agent like delete all my emails that I don't want it to happen? Or will it start automatically sending invites out to people on my contact list? No, it won't if you don't tell it to. So that's why if you want to see the setup on how I actually built this, just check out the link in the description and you'll get a full guide how to build it end to end that you can start right away. The last automation is my testimonial extractor. If you look at my landing page for my course, you'll see a bunch of 5-star testimonials. I actually used AI to gather my students' testimonials and bring them automatically onto this website. Here's how. Inside of my course, I have an ask. So everybody will go through the 20-day course, and then if they get to the end, they'll get to this link and it will say, share your testimonial if you got value from this course. This is a self-hosted page that will generate with AI where people can go through the process and they can fill out their testimonial, they can provide me feedback, and they'll go through, and these testimonials, they get added here. So they give me these direct quotes that I can use, and this is them giving me consent that yes, you can use my testimonial. Then every single morning, whenever we get a new testimonial, I will get an automated email sent to me by one of my agents that says, I scanned 6 students with consent. Here's 3 that you can review. It gives me the link to the Google Sheet that houses my testimonials. And all I have to do is tell it, okay, I'd like you to add number 2 to my website. And then it will go through. It will run a skill that I've built on the back end, and it will actually go ahead and start adding these testimonials in this layout. Now, if you're curious how to set this up for yourself, the key behind all of this is to make sure that one, you have a website that you have hosted. That if you host a website yourself, you will have much more control when it comes to making changes to it. This is why I completely moved off of Kajabi. Kajabi is a platform that hosted a lot of my course material. It hosted my website. It was very robotic. It was very rigid. I couldn't actually make many changes to it in an agentic manner. I could just tell a coding agent, hey, I want you to add these testimonials in from this Google Sheet. It couldn't do that. I had to actually do that work manually until I rebuilt the website entirely here. So if you want to actually run this for yourself, I strongly recommend going through the free links in the description below, or you can also book a call with me and I'd be happy to build these automations for you. And if you want an in-depth tutorial on how to actually edit your videos with AI, check out this video right here. All right, take care. Have a great one.